were just so good. And yeah, if they can replicate that, I think it's going to be a bit of danger for Onyxian.
Well, the map veto is ready, so let's have a look at where we will be going for this first matchup. Cafe and Border, of course, off the board, and we will be heading to Villa.
Yeah, Villa. We haven't seen that played at all so far in NZ Pro League. Oh no, Mindfreak did play it, I believe, or ex-Mindfreak, I should say. But Villa has been a good map for Onyxian in the past. They had draws with Fnatic, and I believe Wildcard. Can't remember if that was a win or a draw last season, but either way, they've had some strong results on Villa. Pretty unproven for Kanga, so hard to say how that will be for them, but they have let it through the veto. So it's got to say that maybe they were a bit prepped for it, or maybe they were banking on the coastline to see the result. But I love a bit of Villa, so I'm really happy to see that get through.
Yeah, Villa is a map that really does reward attacking teams that are really efficient, especially in the refragging department for executes. I guess just harping back for a second though, Kanga did verse Homeless in the SI quals, the online portion of that. They actually lost that 7-1. They only won one defensive round. And Homeless is a team that you could say would be a similar pedigree to them in terms of the fact that they, alongside Kanga, of course, did make it up through the Challenger League. So if that result is anything to go off, not looking great, but that has been a little bit while ago, and obviously they've had plenty of time to prepare, so maybe we'll see a different team tonight.
Yeah, I think notably as well, I remember watching Kanga in SI quals, and they were not playing good. It didn't look like the team that I had seen perform in Challenger League, so I think maybe they were just having a rough time. So hard to judge on that, but I have no doubt they've been doing their prep, that's for sure. I did speak to Wayne Man earlier, and he was talking about how much they had prepared for these teams, and while they had a game last night as well to prepare for, he said they still felt pretty confident in their preparation.
Well, we've had our say. Let's see what you guys at home think. Let's bring up the poll. Wow, okay, Kanga with 58%. Okay. Whoa, I did not expect that. I'm actually pretty speechless. I would have expected Onyxian to have the majority, maybe not by much. I definitely didn't expect Kanga to, and that margin is really quite significant.
It is. I think it could just come down to the fact because Onyxian are orgless, maybe people are like, what is this logo, or what is this team? I've never heard of them before. Let's just go for Kanga because they beat Wildcard last night. I mean, maybe that plays a factor. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people have extra confidence in Kanga because of their results, like having that draw against Fnatic, the win against Wildcard. That does count for something, so maybe not quite misplaced, but I definitely don't think it's quite that disparative.
And there was also a really high percentage there for the draw, 23%. So maybe the people at home have done their homework, because based off the stats that I've got here, Villa is actually the map where we see the most draws, so maybe we'll see that tonight.
Could do, and you know what? I think it's because traditionally, Vintage Villa was a common word actually spoken in NA Pro League earlier. Vintage Villa is where it's super defender-sided. You see teams go 5-1 or 6-0 up in their half, and then another team comes back. In fact, Onyxian, when they did draw with Fnatic in Season 9, they were 5-1 up at the end of the first half, and that ended up being a 6-6 draw. So I have to see whether that happens again. We're into the map now, and Kanga will have this first attack ban, guys, to see what kind of impact this might have.
It'll be a Thatcher ban. So we saw a Thatcher ban earlier tonight come out from Fnatic. They opted not to go for that in map number 2. But in classic ANZ style, we will see him once again off the board. And look, with Carly not being in the competitive pool yet, with her ability to deny devices, Thatcher is essentially, outside of Soft Breach, the only operator that can do that with a widespread effect. So until Carly is in the competitive pool, these Thatcher bans are going to be coming through thick and fast.
Yeah, it's just too strong to not even consider doing. Big bans here from Onyxian. One being the Buck, something that Kanga lean on a lot. I believe it's Worthy that is usually playing the Buck. Not only is he quite effective with the verticality, but he's quite a strong fragger on the Buck. Thumbnail was playing it a little bit last night, but either way, it's something that Kanga now won't be able to lean on. And likewise, the Kai just kind of a complementary ban with that Thatcher. You don't want to have to clear that Electric Claw from below. It just makes it a little bit trickier. So just banning it out makes it a little bit easier to deal with electrocuted walls. Seeing as Onyxian on attack, probably a smart move.
Looks like Dining Room and Kitchen will be the first site that we see on display. A little bit unusual. Some teams do opt for that site. It makes me think a little bit of Clubhouse when teams go to Gym Bedroom over the other two primary sites. It's a pick that can throw off your opponent, and if you dislodge that first attack and put some doubt into their minds, particularly on a site that some may argue isn't as strong despite it statistically being quite strong, that can play in the mindset of the attackers, and that can really help things sort of compound and allow the defenders to really get on top.
Yeah, and it is quite a strong bomb site statistically, as you said. And you know what? I'm not going to go too deep into it on broadcast, but Emzo is a very big advocate for the dining bomb site. He, in fact, has posted some really deep analysis on why it is good. So if you want to check out Emzo on Twitter, you'll see a really great breakdown of why this bomb site is strong and maybe why you should consider it a little more in your ranked map pool. And Kanga will be choosing it first, and standing out to me here is they've got the mute. We're starting to see a lot of play of mute, and then often mute and Mozzie together. Not seeing the Mozzie this time, but Kanga used a lot of mute last night.
Mute, another fantastic operator that
5 seconds to go.
sort of pairs nicely, I guess, with Thatcher, who we mentioned is banned. Can deny not only walls, but also a lot of competitive teams will use it to deny intel. We see really strong teams such as Fnatic use their drones so efficiently, and if Kanga can deny that intel to Onyxian, that'll set themselves up really nicely to play a nice fluid defense, which it looks like they're going to try and attempt.
That it is, and this is going to be a telling tale here, is whether there's a roam clear that Onyxian are going to play into, or whether they try to ignore it. And with Dining Kitchen, it's a little bit hard to ignore the vertical play that the defenders might try to pull out. Red will be able to get that drone through Laundry, though, so they can drone outside pretty easily if they wish to. One drone has gone deep that Worthy will find, and he's going to look to make some holes vertically, just in case that room clear does come from above.
Whoa, okay, Thumbnail in the basement, a place where we don't see many frags go out. He picks up one, and that's Golden taken out.
God Legion.
God Legion. Did I say Golden?
Yeah.
You know what it is? Onyxian with their names, because you can't see the first 3 characters at the top, and it's still frustrating.
I remember you guys saying it last week in the broadcast, you and Dev. Struggling with the names, but yes, they have added some extra letters to the start. This is Digital on the Thermite, though, pushing very deep into Laundry here. Gonna hold a nice angle towards Kitchen, might be trying to catch that Maestro off guard. It was a great start from Kanga, though, getting that opening pick and taking off a strong fragger like God Legion is always good to have in that first minute.
Worthy still holding this position, trying to be mindful of anyone that could come up these pantry stairs. It doesn't look like there's anyone there at the moment. Leb's trying to hold the Laundry wall. I believe they're trying to blow it open with the Thermite, but they might not be able to do so with that Thatcher ban. They could throw some utility over the top to try and get rid of it, but it looks like Digital's having issues. Worthy gets one on to Vast as Digital's already pushed all the way in. He gets one there on to Unit, and he gets a second. He's finally shut down by Leb, but himself will be traded out. Geo is trying to cover the plant as Red will attempt it. Thumbnail and Wayman now need to work side by side to deny it. The C4 comes out, but it won't get the planter. Wayman does try and kill him as he runs off, but doesn't quite get the down, and he gets away with his life. Geo still in position in Kitchen, will get nice 2, and Onyxian will kick off this map with a bang.
That was a great display of teamwork there to be able just to take that site. Nice shot from Geo, that flick onto the Valkyrie. But nice team play there. They didn't bother to try and clear that vertically. They were having some difficulties potentially or just didn't want to do it. And it was a nice push in from Digital with a counter push in through the sheets. I believe it was Geo on that IQ getting that play done. It was Red actually. And yeah, they were able just to frag it out and get that advantage. So Kanga, that early advantage slipping away. Onyxian securing that round. And Kanga going to switch to Aviator Games Room now.
Onyxian looking good so far. Some nice aggression. Really playing into their hands. 6-bit coming out, so we're not going to see Goyo. Wayman instead jumping once again onto a mute. We saw Leb play it in the previous round and actually did a decent job at holding back what could have been an even more devastating rush, but unfortunately he was then traded out quite quickly. So it looks like Onyxian aren't afraid to just full send it in towards the site. They have the confidence and the aggression to match. So Kanga needs to be mindful of that, because I think that Villa is a map that, when all else fails, a rush with really solid refrags can work.
Yeah, I have to agree with that completely, and that was a perfect example of how it can work. So, nice shot calling there potentially from Onyxian. To see how Kanga make these adaptations now. Not as easy necessarily to do the same on Aviator. A lot of ways that you could enter bomb site, but so many angles to be held. That 90 hallway, a very critical key to that. So I think Kanga will probably dedicate some utility there. And it looks like they're also going to dedicate to hold these main stairs. Just delay a push into Study.
I think it's going to be interesting to see how Onyxian try and approach Study. They could try and get the wall, or alternatively, they could just map clear from the other side. With those mute jammers on the board, it could be quite tough. We saw in the previous round, they just couldn't get Laundry open. And yes, that opened up for a big play from Digital, but if Kanga were watching that with more intent, maybe that play wouldn't have come out and then Onyxian wouldn't have won the round. Geo, though, he's getting lit up. Not quite sure where that was from. Either way, he's going to be low on HP now, so hopefully he can get those air jabs out.
Must have been worthy going for a peek because he was also lit up at the start there. He's going to crawl back to site, licking his wounds on about 10 HP or 5 HP. Either way, he's one shot. Study is definitely going to be difficult to take, though, because we also saw that Kanga opened up that floor in front of, and especially when there is no Thatcher, you can maneuver that thermite charge onto the floor just to blow that line across the bottom of the reinforcement, still doing the job that you'd like to get that line of sight. So the fact that Onyxian can't do that is meaning that they're going to have to go below. We see them here on the first floor, potentially using that IQ to clear some of those mute jammers so they're able to actually do something more on site.
Okay, unit. The SMG gets to work, and that'll be God Legion taken out. So Ash is no longer on the board. That means Onyxian will lose some hard breach, or some soft breach rather, and some strong fragging potential from the Ash. It's now going to be up to Onyxian to try and recover. They have half the round to do so, but they now need to try and get the wall open. It looks like they are going to attempt to just place it on the wall. It sounds like there's a mute jammer there, though, so it looks like Fast will now go below to try and deny that. IQ instead will replace that position. That pistol with the gadget will make that a hell of a lot easier, and it sounds like the wall will now be open. It may have been Impact Trick, though, and there we go. So Digital only has one left.
Yeah, and if it's Leb with the impacts, he could do it again, which he does. So that is the 2 thermite charges used. Kind of surprising that Onyxian didn't try toss some utility over. They do have 3 stuns on that Nomad, so a bit of an oversight by them, which makes it a lot harder now to push through to site. They will have no line of sights at all through those hard walls, which makes it a lot more comfortable for Kanga to sit on site here. Smoke Babes will come out to slow down the push into Study. It's going to be a very hard final 30 seconds for Onyxian with these attacks. They're going to have to try and make some kind of pinch happen.
Red gets things going, and it's basically up to Onyxian to frag out Kanga. They just need to hold strong. They've done very well in denying the hard breach, but now they need to try and stop that rush from crushing this defense. Thumbnail, who gets one onto Vast. A strong frag from him, but Digital gets a refrag. The refragging from Onyxian so far has been really strong. Leb just misses a couple of shots there on Classical. I think he got the down though, did he? So that'll be Geo down off the board as Digital attempts to plant. The sound queue has gone down as the defenders start to turn their heads around. Red covers it though and gets his triple. Surely Kanga win this round, but the diffuser goes down, and Leb now is left in a 1-on-2 effectively. He gets one onto Digital and could well clutch this out. Oh my goodness, the Claymore! Leb! Oh
no.
I cursed him! No! Leb!
I think Leb just got ACOG'd. He was scoped down as he moved around the corner, and I think he just couldn't quite see the laser in that Claymore, but as a huge round from Red covering that plant, he ended up with I think a quad thanks to that Claymore, getting the triple as he was covering Digital planting. Again, just on the back of a nice deep push from Onyxian into site. They've secured another attack round, guys, and I think, again, we alluded to it, Villa, every attack round is a fantastic win, basically, because traditionally it goes towards defense, and I think especially we see a Thatcher Buck ban. Definitely makes it hard for attackers to be able to deal with those walls. Onyxian didn't even deal with the walls.
Yeah, that's 2 rounds in a row now where Kanga have played quite well into the Thatcher ban, the hard walls that are so critical in taking both kitchen or dining from laundry, and then taking the A-bomb site here behind the bar by opening the study wall. They haven't been able to do it on either occasion. But Onyxian have just had the presence of mind to set themselves up to refrag. The plant went down in a position where they couldn't really deny it. No one flanked from landing, for example. No C4 came over as well. And they won the round. So look, Kanga are playing well into their bans, except for the fact that they're just like, oh, Onyxian rushed. Oh, we're not denying it. Oh, the round's over. And unfortunately for Lev, he was left in a winnable position, but didn't quite have what it took.
Yeah, and I think the other thing we're seeing is, I think it's a little bit similar to Homeless, right? We saw them do this with Fnatic. They had some great defense rounds, started off the first half of their rounds really strong, in great winnable positions, but just, I think, again, experience maybe is just trouncing them, not quite being able to close out the rounds. They do still have 4 rounds to play out for their first half on the defense. If they do manage to get 4, I'd say a 4-2 is still a great result for your defense half on Villa. But they definitely want to stop the bleeding here. If Onyxian get too much momentum, it could be quite difficult for them to slow them down.
It does look like Onyxian are switching up their attack here instead of entering from the north side. So they're going to go for a map clear. On the last round, they pushed in through study and were unsuccessful in opening the wall. So maybe they're going to try and push from the other side. Try and get the vault wall open. This pre-play C4 coming out from Thumbnail. They must have some intel, possibly on a Mozzie drone there. Maybe even one of Lev's cameras. Doesn't get the kill though, so it's a wasted C4, and that could pose a problem while they try and deny the plant.
Yeah, not 100% sure where that C4 went off, but bit ill-advised. Red was there as the IQ, so he might have even seen it go towards the floor. Either way, it's a bullet dodged. Onyxian now do have entire control of the north side, so they can push towards, and they're going to have to take that 90 hallway. It's something I alluded to earlier. It's really key to being able to hold this bomb site, and it is something that they're going to have to deal with if they want to push this side across and try and still plant in that aviator room.
Nice control has been gained by Onyxian, and they have the Nomad to watch their flanks. Now going to be up to them to try and get that vault wall open and create some more angles to try and deny those players inside of the vault. There is a player at 90, and so they'll have to deal with that, but it looks like that was Leb who's now made his way back to the site. Things are just slowing down a little bit here. The calm before the storm as the Onyxian just prepare their next move.
Yeah, it's interesting that Leb decided just to run away as soon as he saw the drone. Not really trying to contest it at all, just wanted to waste some time, and it now means that Onyxian do have some time to open this vault wall, which is a massive dent in the armor of the defense, but 2 impact grenades on Leb, so maybe this is why we saw him rotate away. He is probably just going to try and impact them out. Digital is going to try and flash it out to push away that Maestro, but he's still there. He's going to be able to deny this. Onyxian aren't careful. Not going to be able to get it if it's on the floor though, actually, guys.
Leb will attempt it, the throw goes out, but it will be denied, and Leb gets his feet taken out by Digital. A great play from Onyxian, but it's not quite enough for the entry, so now they're likely going to be forced through that model door and try and go for a default. Only 30 seconds left, and it's going to really start to pop off here as Kanga try to deny that entry.
I think we're going to see a similar situation here of Onyxian just going to have to push through and try and refrag it out. They don't have much time to get anything else going here, guys. These smoke grenades and the shotgun blast missing. It's a nice refrag. The diffuser has been dropped though with only 10 seconds to go, so Onyxian are going to have to push through as Worthy finds another. Vast finds him, so it's a 3 versus 2 with Thumbnail off, so it's all up to Worthy to try and deny this potential plant as the final second ticks away. It has to be stuck here, guys. 3 seconds left on the plant timer. Worthy has made his way around. Thumbnail tries to retake, not to avail, and it's all up to Worthy. He's low HP and he is taken out. And Onyxian again able to just refrag their way onto site and get themselves into a winning position.
And the thing is, if Thumbnail had that C4 that he didn't waste earlier in the round, I'm fairly confident that they had intel as to where exactly that plant was going. At least there were pings around the objective, so hopefully they did. And he would have just been able to C4 straight up. Maybe even he could have potentially gone for a floor bang. I'm not exactly sure where the plant went down. I think it was just next to the bomb, so it should have been. But either way, unfortunate for Kanga. And they're, again, just faltering at that final little part of the round. And as you sort of said earlier, getting some homeless vibes. They set up the round so nicely for themselves. They're playing into their bands, and then when the action hits, just freeze up a little bit, and Onyxian just play their game.
Yeah, and even to bring it back a little further, talking about like the 1%ers, the small detail mistakes that can cost you a round. Leb, yeah, he wasn't able to get that impact trick because the thermite charge was played low, but he stuck his body in that doorway straight away and he was fragged out. And you know what operator you need when it's 15 seconds to go and the attackers have to refrag it out the site?
Let me guess. Maestro.
Yes, the bullet hose man himself, Maestro. Imagine if Leb had that older and he could have just pre-fired and sprayed in towards that aviator doorway. There's no way that 2 people would have got through that. So it's just those small things that can really come back to bite you. Kanga, they're getting themselves in great positions, but they're not able to close it out. And that's how we're seeing Onyxian up 3-0 on their attack phase.
I hope Leb doesn't DM me later tonight. Like, guys, you cursed me.
You have cursed
me. Come on, Leb. I am vouching for you, man. Go big, please. I want to get hype. So unfortunate.
Oh, he's on the Valkyrie now. Not going to reprise the Maestro, and they are defending a different bomb site. It's going to be the Statue Trophy bomb site. We'll have to see what changes they've made. One big thing here is a very interesting castle strat. They haven't fully reinforced that master wall, and they've chucked a castle barricade on the weird little window in the cove that's in front of that wall. So it's not something I've really seen before.
Be interesting to see how Onyxian try and approach that. They have had issues opening up hard walls so far, but it hasn't really stopped them from winning rounds. As you can see, they're still 3-0 up, relying on their fragging and their late round communication. So maybe that setup will throw them off a little bit. Thumbnail's playing a long way offside as Unit gets the first pick. So that's Sophia off the board. A castle shotgun inside of the walking closet Raven. What? Oh, and that was below as well, I think.
That angle is dirty. It's a great use of that angle and the shotgun from Unit. Probably one of 5 frags in history that you've probably seen in that shotgun, guys. But either way, great play from Kanga. That's a nice opening frag onto Vast as Zofia. It's going to cause some issues now, but at least they don't have the Maestro to have to worry about with that soft breach. It's mainly just some of these other gadgets. But it's definitely stalled out Onyxian. Almost half the round played out here, guys, and really nothing going.
Looks like the dry running for Kanga has paid off so far. They've wasted half the round as Red tries to wallbang a player potentially inside of bathroom, but he won't find the pick. That little window protecting that rotate, as we mentioned earlier. Wayneman gets a C4. Can there be another shotgun kill? There will. Unit absolutely getting to work, and he tries to go for a third. This man needs to be stopped. Digital tries to flash him out. He's going to rush in, but the ADS will protect him. Oh my goodness, he almost got another. Digital is now one shot, and Onyxian only have a minute to go.
And there was a player in the bathroom on the other side of that wall. God Legion getting pre-fired on the red stairs. Kanga just jumping all over Onyxian on this round as Wayne Man does finish off Digital. So that is all up to God Legion, the man that has been the 2 opening deaths for the first 2 rounds. So will he be able to make a difference here? It's going to have to be a 1 versus 4. He's only on about 30 HP. He's pushing around Classical Hallway, and he's going to be able to catch the Mozzie off guard, barely securing that kill. 1 versus 3 now, guys. 40 seconds to go.
Needs to find a few picks here. The diffuser is a long way away, and Kanga should be holding the crossfires. And there we go. They'll take round number 4. And that unorthodox strategy was amazing. I mean, Onyxian had no answer.
I'm not really sure what went wrong for Onyxian there, whether there was some misdroning. Fair enough that Vast was caught off guard to that nice angle from Unit, but the player jumping straight into that closet, knowing that he was potentially still there, they had his rotate cut. Big oversight from them, big mistake, and Kanga capitalized on it, and they just ran with that momentum. So really great round from Kanga. Can they bring this comeback on? They're going to try Dining and Kitchen again, guys.
Man, the UMP is so last season. Shotgun
Apparently.
It's the sleeper gun. I mean, no one plays it, but I swear every time I see someone use it, they actually go off. And I mean, Onyxian just didn't expect it. Funnily enough, Digital is actually a little bit lucky himself to get that final kill, because all 3 flashes were denied, and he only just got the kill, and he was almost taken out himself.
Yeah, and the shotgun on the FBI operators is a really interesting play. And I saw someone, I believe it might have been Easily on Twitter, he said, if you're not confident you're going to hit the heads with the UMP, the gun's pretty trash in a gunfight, so you might as well just take the shotgun, because then you don't have to rely as much on the aim, just take some body shots. The shotgun's not that great compared to like the SAS shotgun, for example, but either way, maybe you are giving yourself a better opportunity. I think especially his castle, like, he's a dump utility and try frag kind of operator. You place his barricades, your job is done, basically. So yeah, you can sit in a tricky situation with that shotty, and look what Unit was able to do with it. So it's a nice play from Kanga.
5 seconds to go.
We are going to see Thumbnail on the second of the SWAT operators on the defense. He was roaming all the way over towards the library, actually barricading it. Thumbnail, not quite with the confidence to run the shotgun, but if you're roaming, you probably don't want that in hand. It's going to be interesting to see how Onyxian try and flush this out, if at all, because there is a big roam from Kanga so far.
Yeah, and Onyxian just running all the way across from south there, whether it was a misspawn or whether they're just deciding not to do what they initially thought, but they are over on the laundry and sheets side, maybe looking to push direct. Red getting his scanner out and finding that intel so far. Maybe they will go above. Last time we saw them elect to ignore the vertical roam that Kanga were laying out. Fast is on the south side now, just clearing around near study and games. And they have got a bit of map control here now, guys, so maybe they will try and attempt this roam clear this time.
Doesn't look like Vast has really found any footprints yet. There are some at the top of the landing, which he might scan. Let's see who it is. That'll be Mozzie. So that is Wayne Man playing over towards the Astro stairs, but he's going to rotate back towards the site, well aware that he has been spotted. This flank from Kanga looking quite good so far, and it's going to be up to Onyxian to try and flush out any players by using that verticality above.
Yeah, and it sounded like there was another missed C4 there, but Onyxian have the full vertical control to see what they can actually do with it. Now they don't have a buff, they don't have a sledge. They are going to have to rely probably on Geo and Vast sidearm shotguns to deal with it. Legion pre-firing that box, maybe seeing a player not able to get the frag. Half the round now, guys, and the Onyxian do have some control, but they haven't really displaced those on side a whole lot.
We have seen Kanga hold off these attacks for a long, long time, but then crumble at the end, and I'm sure Onyxian have that in the backs of their mind. If they can set up for a nice frag fest at the end and really shine by playing confidently, they could still take this round. They have a minute to go. Still creating vertical angles, Raven. When are they going to go for it?
Yeah, they've actually opened up that hard wall from Laundry in towards the A-bomb site, so that is setting up some kind of plant opportunity, but there is a player, and I believe it was Leb, still playing around the bomb, so they will have to try and flush him out, as well as cut the angles from Sheets and Kitchen, so still a lot to deal with though. 40 seconds to go. They're going to quickly drone it out, which is good. Nice and thorough. And God Legion will finally open the scorecard with only 30-something seconds to go. They're pushing through side. Vast not hitting the pre-fires. Leb has still not been spotted, but Red will find him. 30 seconds, guys. The execute is about to happen.
Worthy has the older as Wayneman gets one. Geo gets it back, and it's a 4-on-2. Worthy denies the plant with the older, leaving 20 seconds for Onyxian to re-attempt. Wayneman gets shut down, though, as well as Worthy. And there we go. Onyxian take the round. Again, Kanga. They're denying so much time, so much utility, so much hard breach, and yet they fall short.
Yeah, there's just so many angles that they can't cover. Onyxian pushing with a bit of coordination. Not much time though, so it definitely could come back to bite them, but so far, as we can see on the score, it's actually been working out pretty well. They are up 4-1 on their attack phase on Villa. Kanga's last chance at getting a defense round here. Their best they can salvage is 4-2, and they will be banking it all on Aviator Games Room.
I guess the question now is, Raven, is it too late for Kanga to win this map? Because we know that Villa is defender-sided, whether we like it or not. It's just how it is. That means that Kanga will have a massive mountain to climb in this second half. And with these bans on the board, it's only going to exacerbate how difficult that really will be.
I have to agree. I don't think it's ever possible at this stage to write Kanga off because they've had some great performances so far. But at the moment, it really feels like how their cafe was against Wildcard last night. They managed to get one round on it, and then Wildcard just kind of ran away. And it kind of feels like it's the same, whether it's experience or class. Onyxian just seem to run over the top of them on these rounds. It's not for Kanga's lack of trying or anything like that. It's, again, just these small errors they're not able to capitalize on. If they can get this to 4-2, I mean, it's got to be doable, right? Onyxian have won 4 attack rounds. Just a matter of whether Kanga can replicate the similar performance.
Attackers are moving out to locate a bomb and defuse it.
Yeah, Kanga haven't been making massive mistakes. As you mentioned, it sort of felt like it's been a compilation of minor mistakes that are really building up, and Onyxian are just taking full advantage of that. As I keep sounding like a broken record, Onyxian, they haven't had much luck in the hard breach department. These bans facilitate that. But they've just backed themselves in gunfights, and unfortunately, Kanga just haven't quite had the answers late in these rounds.
That's so true, and it's just kind of come down to, again, the coordination in their final push. They're just, Kanga not able to refrag it out, and maybe they've been caught off guard. And even if there's a man advantage in their favor, it's going back the other way. Again, and looking like this clear from the north side is the play for Onyxian. They have entered through the bedroom and taken statue. Thumbnail is going to rotate below to join Worthy. So there are 2 players off site this time, trying to do the aggressive roam. We questioned Thumbnail's use of his C4 last time. He can hold that in his pocket maybe a bit longer. Could be the difference.
And it hasn't even been Thumbnail. I think there's been a couple of occasions where we've heard C4s go off, but there haven't been many kills. So maybe if Kanga can hold those on for later in the round, they might have some more luck in denying the plant, because they haven't really had much luck. I mean, there's been, at least from what I've tracked, 3 plants so far. With these bans, that really shouldn't be happening.
Yeah, absolutely. And almost half the round played out now, though, guys. So Onyxian starting to have that time work against them. They are ready to push towards 90 as Digital's holding a nice rotate there from Study. So, oh, God Legion's going to be surprised, though. Maybe no drones coming through into Library. God Legion's just having no luck on these entry frags at all. He's been shut down a majority of these attacks, which is definitely working in Kanga's favor. It's just the second half of these rounds that they're unable to secure. Digital is going to be able to freely open this vault as Red finds Thumbnail. That's another roamer taken off. So 4 versus 4 now, guys, as we enter this final minute.
Starting to look more and more dangerous. Leb tries to juggle the wall, rather, with that impact grenade. He's successful on the first occasion. Digital will reattempt, knowing that those impact nades are off the board. Worthy on the flank. He'll get one. So that's Red now taken out, and Onyxian are at the man disadvantage. That's going to make their playstyle of running in and refragging all the more difficult. Vast is going to set up for it. He's going to smoke off that cross and is going to make his way in towards the site. There are holes below to try and deny the plant. Whether or not they try and plant, there will be another question. Vast will attempt it. Digital fantastically will shut down the flank. Vast is forced to fall off that plant as the smoke grenade will flush him out of that position, and he now goes to the default. Unit's going to use another smoke grenade. He still has one in hand, and he can waste even more time. Geo gets one, Digital as well, and just like that, the tables have turned again. Kanga now in a 2-on-3 and another wasted C4. Leb fortunately has some plant denial, but it's not going to be enough as they just shut it down immediately. Vast will go for the plant. Leb gets one there onto Digital, but the plant is successful. They need to try and retake the site. Leb in a perfect position to get this player prone. He pre-fires and gets him. Hopefully he doesn't get a claimer on this occasion. There is a player inside of Study prone. If he pre-fires this angle, he surely will win it, but Geo, he gets the double. This man is the beast at clutching out in post plants. He did it against Sinister. There's a 1 versus 5 and he hits another one. Kanga will throw around once again. Onyxian playing so well at the moment, and Kanga just do not have an answer.
Such strong players in the clutch situation they are proving to be. I don't know how many times we've seen post plants held out really well by not just Onyxian as a team, but Geo in particular. Well played from them. They've ended up with that attack half at 5-1. That's a very strong position to end that half on. And I think a big highlight for us, or a big thing that I want to highlight especially, is I think we both had a very similar reaction. Wayne Man just tossed that C4 out completely into Africa. This is nowhere. It got nothing, and it could have denied that entire round. There were 2 people basically where that diffuser was. If he had tossed it over towards the vault door, that round, I think, almost 100% could have been Kanga's.
And the thing is, we saw that Leb had an Evil Eye there. Was it up after that C4 was thrown?
It got shot just before the C4 was blown. So they went for the plant, they shot the Evil Eye, and then he threw out the C4 in like answer to the Evil Eye being taken out.
I still feel like that should have been enough intel for them to know that the plant was going behind model and being able to deny. I guess he expected that maybe after the Evil Eye got taken out, he'd rotate towards the study floor, but that would have been a super risky plan. And Onyxian played the percentage game, and it paid off, and they're looking like they should really just bring this home strong now.
Yeah, so again, the small details, the small mistakes for Kanga, and I think the scoreboard shows that they're not playing bad. Like, they're getting quite a lot of frags. Even Unit, he's on 5 assists, so there's a lot of impact being had here, but just not being able to close that stuff out. I think a big thing for me on Onyxian is seeing Geo and Red at the top of the scoreboard. Red in particular, more of the support player for Onyxian, so he's having a big game, and he was actually one of the most consistent players for them last week. So a good season for him so far. Spelling massive danger here for Kanga. 4 rounds behind, entering their attack phase with Villa.
And I guess highlighting individual players, God Legion hasn't had the best luck so far on the entry. And despite losing such a strong fragger in many of these rounds, Onyxian still have the confidence to back themselves to go into these tough sort of frag-heavy environments. So I think that's a really positive sign for them.
Yeah, it seems to have worked out well with them, especially Geo. I think he's really added a lot of fragging power to that team. It's worked out so far. Looks like Kanga taking a bit of time to do this initial entry due to this slight roam. God Legion trying to get a cheeky pick as the castle on that statue wall. Unit's going to try and cut the bathroom rotate, but hesitating to push so far. Those castle barricades causing some delay. Whole first minute, in fact, of this roam clear to pretty minimal effect.
Kanga just being stored out a little bit at the moment. Still do have time, of course. We haven't even reached the halfway point of the round. Thumbnail on the IQ manages to spot out one of the Valkyrie cameras placed around the map. Digital attempts... No, that wasn't him that attempted the C4, but he gave the call, and he has a C4 of his own. That comes out, and again, inefficient use of C4s. It's a bit of a trend so far.
Yeah, both these teams seem to be not hitting their C4s at all. That was 2 wasted by Onyxian in that situation. That's 2 that won't be used in the post-plant or plant denial. They potentially have another one in their pocket. 3 of them could be bringing C4s, Red, Geo, and Digital, but have to wait and see. Kanga, though, taking their time with this clear. They've got the vertical control now. They're going to start trying to displace these players on site. They're going to have to work a little bit quicker so they can secure and execute, because it's something that was happening with Onyxian as well. Not leaving themselves much time, causing that push to refrag kind of style to end the rounds.
Just under a minute now for Kanga to try and capitalize on this above control. Leb with the diffuser might be rotating over towards Laundry to try and get that wall open. We saw Onyxian had big troubles in opening this previously, but Onyxian haven't brought any denial from the wall. Interesting, considering there is a Thatcher ban, but Vast backs his gun skill. That's thumbnail off the board, and it's a 5-on-4. The run out comes out, but Leb will get that. Worthy as well got one off screen, so it is a 4-on-3 in favor of Kanga. They have the ability now to open the wall in towards A if they wish. Looks like Unit, though, is going to flank Red Stairs. There's actually one to his right towards Bikes. He gets the first. The refrag doesn't come out. It will eventually get him off the board, but it's a little bit too late. God Legion is left in a 1-on-3. Hasn't had the best map so far, and he can't clutch that one out. Kanga will take the round, and maybe Villa is an attacker-sided map.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite surprising, the performance of these attacks, but it's working out. Kanga get their first one. Onyxian just never really able to get a foothold in their defense once Kanga had that vertical control. Also seeming like Kanga had some great intel. Wayne been able to push through into sheets and pre-fire towards that Mozzie that was sitting hard right at that door at a bit of an unpredictable position. So nice job from them. They secure their second round for this match. They've got still 3 rounds as a deficit, but that's a good start.
This is a weird Villa game. I don't think I've ever watched, never mind casted, a game where it's felt like, despite the bans being so difficult for the attacking side, the attackers having the perseverance and the skill to really look past that, because on very rare occasion have these walls been opened, despite the fact that the attackers are still being able to frag out, which I think is really interesting.
Yeah, I think maybe it's just forced these teams to play different play styles, and it's just somehow just changed it to be actually favouring the attackers. Maybe it means the defenders have tried to play a little too aggressive or get into weird positions too much. Not really sure the exact cause, but either way, this is what is happening. Onyxian will be defending Aviator Games. And we'll have to see what they pull out for this one. Kanga were looking pretty good in this bomb site most of the time. Again, it was mainly the late rounds. See whether it's the same for Onyxian. You know what, Guz? What I want to see is an actual C4 kill. I want to see C4 actually connect.
I was just about to ask you that, because you alluded to maybe the defenders are playing too aggressively, and I guess the catalyst of that is the fact that they're just yeeting out C4s like they're in infinite supply. And of course, every operator can only have a maximum of one. So once it's gone, it's gone. And I believe there's maybe been like 1 or maybe 2 C4 kills in these 7 rounds. So both teams are having real troubles despite having this intel and despite knowing some of the common spots on this map.
Yeah, and even despite bringing C4 heavy lineups, like Onyxian again, they essentially could have had, or they could have 3 in their pocket right now. Kanga most of the time had 2 in their lineups, so yeah, we'll have to see how it works out. Kanga favouring this north side push across from the master bedroom, trying to essentially take that horizontal map control. Thumbnail will get the opening frag onto Vast. Speaking of C4s unused, that's going to be one. Nice opening pick in that first minute for Kanga. Their attacks starting off pretty good again.
It's a 5-on-4. And we're only a minute into the round. It feels like this round's been going on for an eternity, but still plenty of time for Kanga to win this out. Gio's playing below. He has a C4 in hand, but he's being jackal tracked at the moment. So he's going to try and rotate back towards site, and it doesn't look like anyone from Kanga will be able to cut him off. It seems like they're all dedicated to this northern push and will likely try and get 90 control and make their way in towards the vault. Pretty similar to how we saw Onyxian try and clear it. We saw on their first attempt, they went for the study take, but then they went for the map clear, and it looks like Kanga's going to follow that up.
Yeah, I think especially considering the Thatcher ban, trying to take study is just, it's quite the task. You're going to have that vertical control, and even just getting into study itself is quite sketchy because C4s can come over, you can have the impact tricks for that hard breach denial, so it's a bit tricky. They are moving a couple around. Leb on the Habana, which is something we didn't see much of Onyxian use. They are maybe going to try and get those line of sights in study. That is potentially a little bit easier to deal with. Worthy pushing quite aggressively towards the Aviator door, trying to get a couple of picks. And right now, Kanga are starting to set themselves up quite nicely around site. It's pretty surrounded at this stage, so Onyxian are going to have to really turtle and try and get a couple of picks to deny the plant.
Kanga trying to pinch from either side of the objective, and looks like Onyxian, they're quite content in playing passive. Currently 3 on site. Gio is still below. He's over towards the underneath trophy, rather, so he could come for a late flank. And Kanga, they do have Nomad on the board, but they still need to be mindful. Smokes go out. Unit doesn't quite rush in on that. Thumbnail gets one, though, onto Gio, so it's a 3-on-4. Digital has another Yokai to throw out, so he's going to do that to protect the rush in, but he gets rushed himself. That's worthy getting that kill, and now it's a 2v4. Leb gets one as well, so Red needs to do it all. He gets one, gets the second with the knife, and he runs away. No refrag there from Kanga. No one watching the study door. Oh my goodness, he almost gets another 10 seconds on the board. Kanga need to try and collect the diffuser, but they take him out. Round number 8 going to the attackers once again.
Yeah, Red almost with that attempt. He did get the 2, and time was ticking away. Kanga elected to try and hunt that frag, Worthy wheeling around to try and pinch instead of cover a potential plant, and maybe that was the right choice. They got the round. They are up to 3 now, guys, so they've closed that deficit to 2 rounds, and they looked pretty in control for that entire round, basically. It never really looked in danger for them, and Onyxian just started falling and falling. Did also hear, yet again, Giovanni. He blew up a C4 just before he died. Didn't see anything in the kill feed again, unfortunate. And they're going to move to Trophy Statue. Just deciding it's not working, let's keep moving around.
Potentially 2 C4s, now for Onyxian. Definitely been a big talking point in this map. C4s can have a profound effect on how the defenders can get that early man advantage, or use them to deny plants, and in more cases than not, neither have been achieved by the defenders so far. They have intel on the board. They are often running the Maestro. They're typically running the Valkyrie or the Mozzie, so there shouldn't be too much of a lack of intel on the side of the defenders. Maybe just some miscommunication, some mistimings, and it's just compounding a little bit. Either way, looking past that, Kanga have been attacking really well. It feels almost like a mirror of the first sort of half. If you told me, if you switched the team names, I probably wouldn't be able to tell you which team's which, because they've both been attacking it pretty similarly.
Yeah, I think if anything, Kanga looks a little more methodical in that the first half of their rounds are looking a little bit more tidy, or they're getting a little bit more done. But either way, like, you can't deny Onyxian got 5 attack rounds. But Kanga, they're looking great on their attacks, and you know what, I think that was true for their game against Wildcard as well. And probably what threw Wildcard off was that their attacks were just so good on Bank. Seeming to be the same on Villa here, so that's great, because one thing I challenged Kanga last night, as I said, they've only had good results on Bank. So is that their map pool extent? Apparently not. They're looking okay on these Villa attacks. Defense is not as much, and all this aggression refragged at least, but looks like maybe Kanga trying to do a quick attack here, but it's fallen apart, guys. 4 versus 1, maybe a really bad decision there. Diffuser is actually stuck on B site with a mad crossfire. Might not be Kanga's round this one. Thumbnail's gonna have to clutch it out himself.
Thumbnail left in a 1-on-4, and you were just mentioning how more methodical Kanga looked, and then they just do that. They rush in towards the side, and there really wasn't any reason or anything to suggest that they should have done that. Either way, though, they did. Doesn't quite work out. There are a couple members low now for Onyxian, so the clutch isn't impossible, but Thumbnail doesn't get a pick with those grenades, and it makes it just a little bit harder. He's now stuck at the bottom of Astro. Could use this as attack timeout. It looks like he might try and clutch it out, but either way, it's looking pretty improbable.
Yeah, I think you and I are just really trying our best to cast a curse Kanga here. You talked about how you reckon you curse Leb. He's not getting many frags. And
sorry, Leb.
I talked about their methodical attacks, and they rushed to their doom on this one. So, well, maybe not. Thumbnail does still have a minute 25 to play in this round. He is pushing up into every single goo mine possible that he can find, meaning that Onyxian know exactly where he's coming from. And they've got a lot of utility to deal with. This one attacker. This is, mind you, to save the round, to get a potential still win for Kanga, because essentially as soon as Onyxian get this round, it would be only a possible 1 point. Onyxian would move to match point should they get this, and Thumbnail, almost.
He gets wallbang through the barricade, and eventually he will be shut down. Onyxian, they will take a defense, and funnily enough, that is only the 2nd defensive win so far on Villa.
Yeah, it's
what?
That's not normal at all, and I have to really question, I don't know what exactly the decision was for that rush, whether they saw something or whether maybe it was a bit premeditated, but it really failed, and maybe a really bad decision, or yeah, you could say bad decision, because it didn't work.
Yeah, I think that the scoreline would suggest it was not a great decision.
Yeah, maybe just simply they wanted to try and catch Onyxian off guard, but they didn't do it based on intel. Either way, now Kanga have 3 rounds that they will have to try and salvage if they wish to at least secure 1 point and the draw. Onyxian are on match point, and they'll try Aviator Games Room again. heavily outplayed last time. So we'll see whether they can make some adaptations.
Man, that last round was weird. I know, I don't understand the thought process behind going for a rush when you've looked so good for 2 attacks. If they had have lost a couple of attacks, then sure. I mean, not that they would have been able to because of the scoreline, but theoretically, if they lost a couple of attacks, maybe you go, yeah, these bands are tough, let's just rush it. But they weren't playing that poorly, so yeah, potential oversight there. Either way, they're still in with a shot to draw it. Saw them draw against some of the other higher placed teams. Will they be able to replicate it here? I feel like 3 straight on attack on Villa. Definitely going against the odds. But
I mean,
this whole match has been against the odds, let's be honest. Only 2 attacks so far in 9 rounds. That's pretty unprecedented.
Based on our stats from this very match, it wouldn't be against the odds for them to get the 3 attacks in a row. So definitely still a possibility. Big adaptation that I'm seeing here with Onyxian though was that 6-pick, Geo 6-picking off of the Mozzie onto the Maestro, adding the additional anchor operator and also the additional on-site intel. I think definitely Evil Eyes was something they could have really benefited from last time with Kanga's attacks, so see if it helps this time. Kanga wasting no time at all to try and get in towards Master Bedroom. Again, opting for this north to south clear. And look pretty efficient so far. If they can do it efficiently, it's going to put a lot of pressure on Onyxian. And speaking of, Vast has been taken very low.
Not too sure how that happened. I glanced away for a second and look up and Vast is 1 shot. Either way, he's going to try and hold the stairs with God Legion over towards the south. He's instead going to rotate below. So maybe Raven will see another C4 play. Let's hope that for these defenders it will pay off. A couple of C4s on the board. Probably the play for Vast is unlikely to win a gunfight. So if he can stick below, stay alive and get a C4, that would probably be enough.
Yeah, it looks like Worthy maybe is on the hunt. No, he's going to repel up towards 90 window. That could be Vast's opportunity there. If they're aware that he's on that window, Vast could go for the run out. Could be worth it. He might get fragged out easy, but if he kills Worthy, it's utility and a good position to take out. See what the decision is, but all of a sudden, guys, we talked about the efficiency, but half the round's played out now, and they are starting to surround site, making a bit of progress. Looks like they are going to take 90 now. Worthy holds it as Thumbnail comes around. And yeah, look, it's looking pretty good for Kanga at this stage.
Likely try and set up to open the wall in towards Vault. That'll be Leb's responsibility. He is the only hard breach for Kanga, playing that Hibana. We did see a Onyxian, digital namely, playing on the Thermite. It looks like Kanga trying to mix it up. Leb is actually over towards Study, so instead they're going to make some angles from there. Maybe not enough to make an entry, but enough to make a Onyxian feel a little bit less comfortable on site, which for these last second rushes is ideal.
Yeah, Kanga are definitely setting themselves up for, looked like an aviator plant. They're going to get those study holes so they can cut the rotates. And Worthy is going to finally shut down fast on that roam. Not having much of an impact there. And it means that a lot of denial is going to have to come out of Onyxian. That IQ is going to see the Yokais, but doesn't quite actually shoot it. Oh, a really big push from Worthy at 90. That's going to be a big pick onto God Legion. Worthy did get down in that engagement though, so Thumbnail will try and pick him up. That's C4 landing on his face though. 30 seconds, guys. Kanga have to get the execute.
Not much time on the board, but we've seen teams do it time and time again. The Yokai giving out a lot of intel, but the air jab will deny Red from denying it straight away. He goes for the peak though, secures his double, and the diffuser is now down at default. Leb and Wayneman need to try and collect some kills, but now it's Wayneman left in a 3-on-1. Red got his triple. Doesn't quite get the quad, but either way, Onyxian win the round and the map.
Big performance from them in the end off the back of some massive teamwork in their attacks to be able to refrag out with Thatcher and Buckban, but big game from Red. I believe he was the MVP, and he was really consistent across the attacks and defenses. Even there was the first defense round, I believe, he almost got that clutch right then, going big with the triple. Big game from him, and yeah, Onyxian do secure the win. Oh, that's scoreline. 15-4, guys.
That whole game was just weird. How often do you see a Villa game where there's only a couple of rounds won by the defenders? That is just unprecedented. I mean, Villa is, I think, statistically the most defender-sided map in the competitive pool.